The Dead Zone. An adaptation of a Stephen King novel, one of the better adaptations, with Christopher Walken playing Johnny Smith. And yes, that was deliberately chosen to be as bland, as common a name as possible. But Johnny is a teacher, and he's in love with a girl, Sarah, in high school. They're both high school teachers. And they go to a carnival, and then Johnny goes and drops her off. And much to his later regret, turns her down to spend the night because they're not married yet. So, no, let's not do this yet. And on his way home from having been a gentleman, the cab he's in gets smashed into by a truck, an 18-wheeler, where the driver has fallen asleep. So, before the accident, which puts Johnny into a coma for 5 years, he had taken Sarah to this carnival and showed that he had the ability, possibly, occasionally, to have psychic ideas, connections. But it's not really anything he thinks about. Most people don't. They get, the occasional thing, deja vu, whatever, and you just have it, you dismiss it, you walk away. But once he wakes up from this coma, he discovers that anytime he touches somebody, he will find out about their past, about their future. The dead zone is when he sees someone's future, but there's some part of it he can't quite see. So later on, when he is acting as a tutor for a very rich man's kid, who he claims has problems, but it's really more the father that has problems than the kid. They were supposed to go for a hockey game, first game, and the lake isn't frozen sufficiently. Usually they can do this at this time of year, but for some reason this year it's not frozen sufficiently. Johnny gets a vision of the boy he's tutoring drowning because of this hockey game, and of course starts freaking out. Freaks out on the kid, freaks out on the father, and the father finally says, fine, we won't go because he's scaring the boy, and rightly so. And he says, we won't go, we won't do it. Johnny is happy. He touches the boy's hand, says his student, and sees that he's fine now. So assumes that the father is telling the truth and apologizes for frightening everybody and leaving. Then the boy discovers that his father lied. He just said that to get Johnny to leave. He's still planning on taking all these friends of his sons out to a hockey game, like to have a hockey game on this lake. And the boy refuses to go. This is why the son survives, but several of his friends don't. And the father then just drinks himself into a depression because he could have stopped it, but he was too arrogant to do so. And then we have Martin Sheen's character, and he wants to be president. And shaking his hand, Johnny has a vision of him setting off the nuclear codes because God told him to, and then figures he's got to do whatever he can do to stop this. The age-old question which he asks of his doctor, who is a survivor of the Second World War, if you knew what you knew now, would you go back and kill Hitler as a baby? And the doctor's response is, I am a doctor, I'm supposed to try to heal life, to save life, and as a result of that, I would have no choice but to go back and kill the son of a bitch. So Johnny decides that the best thing he can do, especially since every time he has one of these visions, it's like draining his life out of him. So he's slowly dying every time he has one of these, and he knows it, and his doctor knows it. So he figures that the best thing he can do is one good thing before he dies. And while he was in a coma, Sarah, the woman he was in love with, eventually, after a few years, stopped waiting for him. She got married. She now has a little toddler. And Denny. Johnny figures he's just going to assassinate Martin Sheen's character who wants to be president, and one day will set off nuclear codes because God told him to. Yeah, that doesn't, unfortunately, sound too familiar these days. But it doesn't quite go the way it ought to. Will Johnny still succeed? Yes. Will it be the way that he thought it would be? No. Does he care? Because as far as he's concerned, he's just prevented nuclear bombs going off. Absolutely not. It is not on anything where you don't have to pay for it at the moment right now, unless it's on PrimeWire, which most things are. So I happen to own this DVD. It's one of my favorite adaptations of King's work. So if you can, find The Dead Zone, watch it. It's worth it.